So in yesterday's video, I made it very clear that the bull trap zone to buy put options on was going to be at 547 to 548. The exact highs on the SPY was at 547. Congratulations for those of you who decided to buy those put options. With that being said, I'm going to be breaking down my in-depth price action analysis and game plans for the SPY heading into tomorrow. Keep in mind, we do have the PCE index, in tomorrow towards the pre-market session. But in terms of the daily chart patterns that I'm seeing, I'm currently seeing two patterns that can potentially repeat itself heading into tomorrow. The main thing that can alter this can be the PCE index, but this is what I wanted to break down for you. In terms of the daily chart pattern that I'm seeing, you can see we have a green candlestick right here. We have a green candlestick right here. Then you have a red bearish candlestick facing down the middle. Then you have a red bearish candlestick facing down the middle. Then you have three green candlesticks trending sideways. Then you have three, green candlesticks trending sideways. So if history to repeat itself, what would we want to look for? We would want to look for this. If the SPY is just hanging around the previous closing price, 546.37. We're just hanging around 546 to 547. It's not really gapping up much. It's just hanging around that zone. And you see a crack below the previous closing price. You see a 30-minute bearish confirmation towards that zone. You are going to want to buy put options because it is likely going to sell off. Now, if that does occur, and if we do sell off and we're not having some sort of big, gap up, I would be interested in buying call options in between these levels. These levels are going to be right here at 542.50 to 543. If we do go under 542.50, you're going to want to look at 540 to 537 for a potential dip buy on calls as well. Make sure you're using the green bullish 30-minute and trend reversal confirmations, right? So in terms of that pattern, like if history repeats itself in a similar cycle, you can see right here, it tops towards that previous closing price, and then it has a nice drop, and then it recovers later throughout the day. Now, let's go over the other pattern that I'm looking at. This is going to be if the SPY has a big gap up. Right now, during extended hours trading session, it is currently gapping up. So in terms of this specific pattern, you can see right here, we have a green daily candlestick, we have a red candlestick, and then we have a three green candlesticks trending to the sideways, right? So very similar. And then the SPY has a massive gap up. If you were to have bought it towards the opening on the dip, would have been a very nice opportunity for calls. And then later in today, if you did puts, would have been a great opportunity for puts. So in terms of history repeating itself, and if these patterns do repeat itself, this is what you're going to want to look for. If we are seeing a massive gap up, a nice gap up above this 546.37, you're going to want to look for a pullback into the open to buy call options. In terms of the measured move, I would look for a 1 to 1.5 drop off the open if it's having a massive gap up to buy those call options. Now, if we are having a massive gap up, it is likely going to sell off later into the day. So in terms of this situation, I would look for put options at the extended hours highs, right here towards these extended hours highs at 550.70 to 551 that has not been tested. So basically, I would be looking for put options 551 and anything above that for put options tomorrow if we are experiencing a massive gap up. That is going to be the overall game plans based off of the daily chart patterns. I'm looking for very similar cycles to repeat themselves. Obviously, history is going to repeat itself, not to an exact T, and very, not to an exact T, but very similar cycles, right? So that's going to help point you in the right direction if we're just hanging around, the previous closing price, and we're not really having a big gap up. You're going to want to look for put options towards that breakdown below previous closing price. Then you're going to want to look for call options for an end of day recovery at that 542.50 to 543, if not then 540, right? And then if we're having that big gap up, you're going to want to look for call options on a nice dip. Look for a 1.5 dip towards the open, and then look for an end of day sell off towards new all-time highs. That is the fucking game plan. With that being said, if you do want to trade with us tomorrow, we're going to be closing out the week with our absolute best trading day of the week. We ended up going 2 for 3 today inside of Team Roar. But if you do want to trade with us and get involved with our secured private organization, it's going to be the first link down below within the description, where you get access to all of our real-time trade alerts, and you can chat with us within the chat.